Just did it. You see, I just did it.
What your shirt says?
Yeah, I added that hose. I mean, you asked me to post a picture of, but instead of the pill.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, you'll figure
None.
it out. Uh-huh.
You posted a picture of a pill?
No, you said, come on, Lee, you show us a picture. You're only using pictures. You said.
Okay. We can't talk about that live.
Oh.
Hi, guys.
Well,
hey, is that one of our coaches, Michelle?
Hi, Michelle. How's it going? Yeah. Yeah. So, we thought we'd come in. We are getting the video settling.
Yes, it's coming.
But, we kind of want to come out here and say hi. Tonight. Give you guys some...
Talk about settling a little bit.
Yeah. What's going on with you guys? How you guys been? Well, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Love it when they all speak up and say.
But they are. Everybody's saying hi. And look, they've already got me crying.
Oh.
Could be my allergies, but
yeah,
I like to blame
allergy season.
Oh,
well, you know what? I had a cough. I started with
contour. You got too far this morning.
You went with the can't breathe. I got the can't breathe.
Oh, I think
it's like we kept passing allergy stuff back.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
I love the physical aspects of this kind of you get to share thing. The best thing to do though is when you're going through those things, don't create a story out of it.
Which we do. So let's talk a little bit about suffering. What is your definition of suffering?
Of suffering? Having the same repetitive thought over and over and over again about something you can't do anything about, and having to endure that day in and day out. What about you? What's your definition of suffering? Let me guess. Coffee breath. I'm just kidding.
I do suffer that.
See what I did there? Yeah.
That is suffering. Yeah, I agree with that. Staying in the same space.
Yeah.
Same negative space.
The same story.
Yes.
Oh, it's telling the same story over and over. And then you go and you share it with a bunch of people, and then they all go, yeah, well, you should just get out of that. Like, you're not, like, that's the whole point of telling the story, is to tell you how you're stuck.
Let's get to this. I need to. First of all, Michelle took a long weekend. So did we. We laid in the pool and sun bleached my hair. But I want to address this here. I came all the way to Ohio. First of all, we're part of Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
And my twin is refusing to see me. We planned this trip. I'm devastated.
Well, could have came and saw us. We're in Ohio.
Right, we're in Ohio.
Forget your twin.
Well, and that's a little bit of suffering going on right there.
Yeah. But I'm wondering what all the story is behind all of this.
Ooh, I think that suffering is a choice. Like, we all experience pain and worry, but I believe we can choose to suffer or learn. Agreed. Looping over and over. Agreed. Oh, Columbus, you're only an hour and a half, or only an hour and 15 minutes from here.
Actually less than 90 minutes.
Where are you at? I'm in Ohio too.
Mm-hmm.
You're only an hour and 15 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, email us if you need us, because we'll do a little bit of intervention if we need to.
Yeah. Interesting. The refusing word, I think, is what's jumping out at me, because that, of course. Well, so I think that suffering is a choice. Like, we all experience pain and worry, but I believe we could choose to suffer or learn.
I think, suffering is a rough one, because I believe worry and stress are the definition of suffering.
I love those two. Let's talk about those two specifically when it comes to suffering.
Hi.
Because I think, hi.
I love her.
Oh, she's actually an associate coach.
Yeah, she's an associate coach. We need to get her.
Yeah.
We need to talk to you. You can talk.
You find us. The stress. Let's really get down to what stress is.
Stress.
Oh, I love stress.
Do you?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't like it when you're stressed.
Once you figure it out, and then when you get trapped in it again, you know how to find your way out. Stress is the ability, or is the space of wanting to be somewhere else but here. And you know that's impossible. In other words, if you're thinking about something that's going to happen, you're thinking about something that's coming down the line, you're just overthinking about something that you're not even in that space yet. And what it is the yet is the issue. You kind of dread the yet. You kind of dread it showing up. You kind of dread when it's going to happen. And what happens is you're making your now moment, the only moment you have, suffer. Yeah. Oh, well, good. Email us. That'll be awesome. Worry is the beginning of suffering, of course. Worry is part of the stress family, isn't it? Worry, yeah. Worry and stress is the same thing.
No.
Well, worry is time-based.
Right, but I don't think they're the same thing.
Well, both of them.
I can worry about being stressed.
Whoa.
I can be stressed about being worried.
But both of them, don't they point to time?
I mean, yeah.
The one thing that it's going to point to, the one thing it's pointing to is the one thing we can't control, and that's why we suffer.
Worry is using your imagination to create what you don't want.
Future tense.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I do believe that suffering is a choice too. I think this person's correct. Suffering is a choice. Like, we experience pain and worry, but we believe we can choose to suffer or learn. I agree with that. I agree with, and I really used to be a stickler about living like that. Like, why stress or why worry? I don't know why I picked up the habits again. But I used to be completely against it. Like, what is it going to change? And it didn't change anything but my blood pressure.
Do stress and worry try to alter reality?
Do they try to alter reality?
Yes. When you're in stress and worry, aren't they trying to alter reality?
I guess so. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at it that way,
I guess so. Yeah.
it's like you've become, I love this line, morally superior to reality. That's all it is. Okay. And you get so
sounds like
aggravated.
Eckhart Tolle.
It does.
Yeah.
And it literally is the truth, though. You literally think you now have control and direct access to time and being able to move it and make it show up the way you want. And the way that you're forcing yourself to make it show up is what's causing you the stress.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, this person up in Columbus, email us at info@relationshipreinvented.com. Yeah. Yeah, email us, because this is a mess that you shouldn't be going through that. And for when will you please offer guidance for when the one you are connected to chooses suffering?
Oh, I know that role. Yeah, that's a role we play. See, one of the things that happens when we stress, when we're worried, when we have suffering, is we have an identity in each one of those. And after we get to learn to play it over the years or over a period of time, we know who we are when we're suffering. We just don't know who we are when we're not. It's kind of like, it's like, I know who I am without being with my twin, right, but I sure as hell never going to find out who I'm going to be when I'm with him. It's literally, and what happens is you now have to create a scenario which you call separation. And this is how separation was incorporated in this connection. We all had to find an identity of who we were without the person we're connected to, so we could always know who we're going to be, because that ultimately is the reason we're connected.
Right.
Well, we all learn that at a very early age. We come up with an identity created by those, actually by being with those we're connected to. Family, friends, people we grew up around. We know who we are in that space. You're trying to figure that out from this connection, and connection says you're not any of that. And that's what makes you suffer. Hello.
When you were separated from your twin and decided to date, did you meet anyone who was a dead ringer of your twin or share very similar traits of yours?
You went out with a Lee.
I did. I went out with a black guy named Lee. It didn't look anything like you. Not a thing like you.
I'm black.
Well, more like orange.
Sorry.
I did that on purpose.
Oh, more like orange.
Anyway.
I see what you did there. You did there. Now,
Anyway.
No, you know that shit was wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Nobody would. I went out with a black guy named Lee just so I could, but he didn't look like Lee, didn't act like Lee, didn't talk like Lee, didn't walk like Lee, nothing. And I think I ended up getting sick or getting the safe call to go home. Something like that. It was bad. Do you think that's another part of the suffering we see through a certain lens? When we find this connection, we keep seeing through that same lens. We keep looking for this exact replica, right, or the exact replacement, right, or the exact. Yeah,
But-
because the original just is a hot freaking mess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes, I don't think we choose our twin. I think our twin chooses us. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
you think there's choice?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Would you choose? If you had choice, would you have made me your choice?
Like in a lineup? I mean,
Wow.
hold up. Let's get serious.
No. Yeah, I want you to elaborate a little bit more on a lineup.
So yeah, initially I would have chosen you. And I'm going to say initially I would have chosen you. Would it have lasted? If there was no connection?
Wow. I get it. I get what you're saying.
No.
No,
No.
that wouldn't have been your choice.
I mean, after 5 or 6 months of the BS that we went through, I would probably have been like, psh.
That's understandable, but
Right, you know what I mean? But there was that connection in that pool, that damn pool, like
the magnet.
right back to you. And there were times that I swore you off. I got hypnotized.
What's hypnotized? Is that like cord cutting or something?
I don't know. I got hypnotized to get you out of my mind. It never worked.
Really?
Oh yeah. Went to one of those no smoking systems.
Did you pay for this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I because without the connection, like we suck at relationship. We both suck at relationship. We both just do.
Yeah.
And we really would have killed each other.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you did there.
We would have, yeah. Without that connection and that pull, then the surrender of that made it easier for both of us to make changes to be able to be in each other's presence. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it takes is a lot of freaking change.
But that
I'm predominantly in my masculine energy a lot.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to hand it off most times.
No, I don't want to hand it off
and
at all.
I just have to take it from you. And
yeah.
But that's a whole other different. But there's aspects to that we could go far deep into here that we can't, but we will at a different time. When you were separated from your twin and decided to date, did you meet anyone? Yes. Please just answer that. Will you please offer guidance for when the one you are connected to chooses suffer? I think that one needs to be answered because when somebody chooses suffering, they're choosing it out of familiarity, not because they want to. It's just something they always fall to. It's their fallback to. And usually they have things that they're saying to themselves that they're falling back into. The goal is to get them to say those things out loud, not try to fix them, not try to take away what the actual suffering is, but to actually listen to what the suffering is. Because once you actually start talking, you actually go into a space where you've never spoken from. And that's what healing's about, right? Being able to speak what happened to you, be able to talk about what happened. It's quite interesting. Most people are fearing talking about what hurt them, talking about what the actual hurt did, talking about what the actual hurt caused, talking about the episode of what caused the accident. And usually when you're running from that, you don't see yourself as running away from yourself or suffering. And that's exactly what it is.
Right.
So hopefully that was what you're talking about there.
I hope. Is there a cure for twin flamery? Girl, or not?
You need a cure?
If there was, I would have used it a long time ago.
Yes and no. The cure is in you.
The cure is in you.
The cure is not in the other person.
Right.
And the flame itself is trying to burn brighter so you can see what you've placed in the dark. I mean, it's usually coming out of you in this connection.
This is something, and this is just my opinion, so don't go all Roseanne on me.
Are we being canceled?
Listen, I truly, honestly believe that we all have a twin flame, I'm not the type of person who believes we have multiple twin flames. I'm not the type of person who believes in catalysts or walk-ins. I believe in soulmates and twin flames. I keep it very, very simple, right? It's easier to keep it simple. I've had twin flame type of relationships at one, maybe. I have. I've been in relationships where everything just meshed. I mean, it was 50-50. Everything was just, there was no conflict. It was just lighthearted and loving and fun. And then this twin flame thing comes along and it's just a freaking thunderstorm, right? But I truly, honestly believe that that's the one. When you meet that person, that's the one. And you got to find the strength in yourself to make those changes in yourself to be able to have union. I truly believe that it's about the strength that we have in ourselves to be able to get through all this shit like we did, right? Believe me, we could have walked away millions of times, and we tried. We tried, and it just wouldn't happen for us until we realized we needed to make some changes in us and figure out who we were as individuals before we came together in union. I truly believe it's about the strength you have in you. Tapping into that God-like strength, tapping into that God in you to get through those things. It's like trying to be in union with your brother or your sister, and how you just are constantly, you know what I mean? She gets on my nerves or he gets on my nerves or does things, and constantly battling back and forth. But you can go through life and not talk to your brother anymore, not talk to your sister anymore. But you really can't, once you meet that twin, you really can't get through life without them being in the back there.
But it also, those things that happen to you because of those things, like you're just mentioning just there, those things taught you how to walk away from connection, and they're showing up in this connection.
Right.
And they
That's
show up.
Exactly
they show up
yes.
so many times in this connection, walking away.
Mm-hmm.
If you are able to disconnect from your parents,
mm-hmm.
don't worry. This connection is going to make you pay for that. And it's in the worst way, because you didn't know how to approach them. You lose the ability to learn how to approach your twin. It's almost like you lose this voice, you lose this state of being, you lose this energy that you're made up of, because you learned so many things before then, and now they're being pulled out of you for you to see what they actually did to you versus what they did to you back then. Because it's very easy to be somebody who can walk away from somebody in connection, especially if you had practice before you came into this connection. And most people have had practice, but they don't see that practice yet until this connection comes along. Like you said, we knew how to be ripped apart. We knew how to be without, you knew how to be without your masculine to become your masculine. I knew how to be without my masculine to become masculine. Excuse me. And we both had that feminine design that was very confusing. So that when we come together, we knew how to open our hearts, but we knew how to really kind of retract from it too. So a lot of what I think, the most beautiful part for me is that the depth of where we have gone in our connection, there's no doubt in my bones or my soul in my body that you are my direct match. Because how can we speak of so much depth and point people so far inside based on anything else? We didn't just come up with this as a marriage. We didn't come up with this because of a history of everything we've been through. When it came to you, when it came to this connection, it saved my life because I wanted to save myself. But I couldn't find that space in me where I was not saving myself. I couldn't see it. I didn't even know it existed. So I love being in love with you as my twin, even with all of the stuff we've been through. I hope that's been something you guys have all experienced. And I'm telling you, there is a reason you're going through what you're going through. If you're in the state of suffering, if you're in worry, if you're in stress, if they won't see it, they will see. If you haven't been able to open it, if you're just going through and doing the motions of having sex all the damn time, but you really don't communicate, that's communication too. There's a whole mess of stuff that's lying underneath the surface of you, not the other person. And it's going to be reflected in you because of this connection. This connection is here to show you your wholeness, not take it away from you. So I don't know if that I was on a rant.
You was.
You were too.
I was.
Yeah.
I was doing
We're
well.
channel mode today.
I know. I was
Don't talk
doing
to us
well
today.
with dealing with it until recently becoming sleep deprived. Now it's like my strengths are weakened, and I feel so saddened by our situation. I need some sleep.
Then what you do is you finally accept being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a space there where he said, being strong and being weak, those two things are not the same thing as being vulnerable. Vulnerability is the pathway out of that.
She did say that, but I also feel like the reason I can't get sleep have to do with my relationship with your twin. You need to shut your mind down, take out the trash.
Yeah. And tell the truth.
Yeah.
Why do twin flames have obvious differences? Age, culture, physical appearance. What's the cause?
You know what? It's so cute to me. It's so funny to me when it's just so interesting to me when people put the side to side up. You know what I mean? Oh, look, I look just like my twin. Right? What? Okay. I don't.
Well, sometimes
We
energy.
can't put a side to side up.
We have.
Yeah, we have. It's how,
Just
but what's funny is the picture that I put up was of you and I as teenagers, and we had the same haircut almost.
We had the same haircut, but we have a lot of the same manners.
Well, yeah.
I think when we came in, and your smile and my smile were very. It seemed to me, I thought, she looks like she has my smile. It's kind of what it felt like that at first.
Yeah.
And then.
I don't think you look anything alike, by the way.
Yeah, you're prettier than me.
No.
I'm not pretty.
I don't know. I just think
No, I think that
we don't have the same parents.
I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to
don't
make
have the same family.
This is what's interesting.
Different DNA.
I love that. The answer to this question is why do twin flames have obvious differences, age, culture, physical appearance, and what is the cause? Is because this is an inside connection, not an outside one.
Right.
So what you're looking for, most people think, oh, I can look at two people and tell they're twins. Yeah, but that's when people are born and they come out at the same time, maybe seconds apart. But when you have a connection where the energy going into the connection came from the same space, one went to one side of the planet, one went to the other, one stayed away from the other, one went one county over from the other, or they were in the same hospital, different floors. I think what we're looking for is similarity when we can't see what's on the inside because we haven't learned as a species to talk from inside.
Mm.
Oh, that was too much.
It made a lot of sense.
Oh, okay.
It did, because we come from the same people. We have different DNA.
You have different DNA, but that doesn't mean the energy that was in the room.
I like what you said about it's an inside connection, not an outside connection. I really do. But
is it true?
It is true.
Is it true for you?
For sure, it's true. So that's why, again, don't go Roseanne on me.
That's twice.
I know.
Third time.
It's just so new. Well,
I know she's your hero.
I loved her.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, me and her are the same, but I don't have those political views. So what? Anyway, I truly believe that it is when others say that can't possibly be your twin, or no, that's not your twin. You guys aren't even close to being twins. I don't understand that. I just don't get it. I don't understand how anybody could say that to you. I don't get that. Thank you, universe, for that magic number I needed. Anyway, I don't get it. I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's right. Again, my opinion, nobody can see you on the inside. Nobody can feel what you're feeling. Nobody else can know what you know in here. That's a knowing that only you can know. Of course, we get comments all the time. You guys can't possibly be twins. You don't even look at each other. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, okay.
We're on video. What is that?
Right. That's your opinion.
Come in my bedroom and tell me
and that's fine. And that's fine. But I just don't feel it's right, especially for those of you who are just learning this experience and just figuring it out. I'm telling you, when we first figured it out, we were so confused. We didn't know what to do. I knew that it was different. I knew that something was different in us. I knew that we were different than Bob and Sue or whoever. I just knew we were.
You know what it felt like? It felt like it felt like you could walk inside of me and just start throwing shit out if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
It felt like that. And then it goes deeper than that. In every single way you could try to explain what's going on the inside of you, it has to kind of match your story. So what ends up happening is sometimes you end up finding that here's this person you're connected to. You're going to find different variables about what happened to you in your family dynamic and incorporate that into the connection. For example, if you had, this is a good one. So let's say, for example, you were born into the world female, and your mother and your father didn't get along, and your father was gone by the time you were age 3. Then at some point, your father got replaced. You believe you can replace your twin. Believe that because your mother instilled in you that it's okay to replace somebody you're connected to.
Right.
And nobody's asking you about that belief system. So when they're trying to tell you something, they need to shut up. Everybody got it. So here's how that works. It doesn't make any sense. Too many variables, too many choices, too many decisions, and nobody asking you enough questions.
Yeah.
Because the answers are inside of you, not somebody you're going to go to, not somebody who's going to look on screen and tell you you're not connected.
Yeah.
Here we are in connection to the depth, telling you it is a very fragile thing to be in this connection. And somebody's got to listen to you. Somebody's got to ask you the right questions. Somebody's going to take their time. And if you haven't found it, don't worry. That's why we're here. We're going to take the time to listen to you to find out what.
We're going to listen to the whole story in detail.
And we're going to ask you some very tough questions.
And we're going to ask you the right questions.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And you're going to cry.
Well, release is good.
But that's great. Sherry, when Lee, were you done?
No, I'm done.
When Lee had flipped the switch and it was final, see how final that was? Anyway, how was the connection reestablished in the physical? How did you actually start talking so you could listen? Oh, this was an interesting and little insight. I'm gonna give them my quick point of view, and then you can give them yours and how it happened. So we are actively seeing other people. At one point in time, we made it final, and I could hear it in his voice, and I surrendered to that. Of course, I had a couple days of kicking, hitting pillows, and crying, and a couple days of a pity party. And woe is me, and he's an asshole, and all this shit. I did that. I'm not going to lie. For a couple of days, I did that. And there was one night that I laid there, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I have to know that I am connected to him. I know that. I have to do something with me. This is about me, right? And I decided to live clean. And I'm not talking about clean eating. I'm not talking about I just decided to live clean. Meaning that the karma that I receive is what I'm putting out, right? I know the law. I know the the wordage I'm trying to find, cause and effect. I know that, right? So I knew that even a little lie was going to bring me another lie.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know, and I didn't want that lie to be in me. And I decided to live a truthful life. That doesn't mean I haven't backslid a few times. We do. But it just means that I decided to just tell my truth. And the guy that I was seeing, he was seeing somebody else. And I decided to surrender to this connection and just know that I'm going to go on, be with other people, be with somebody else, and still be connected to him for the rest of my life. And I had to surrender to that. And I had to accept that. Once I did, I felt so free, right? And I had a gentleman who was asking me on these dates. He was doing some work in the office building that I was in. And I kept turning him down, and I kept turning him down. And then one day after that night of realization, I said, okay, I'll go to dinner with you. I'm cool with that. And so we started seeing one another. And then it wasn't 2 or 3 weeks in that he wanted to he didn't want me dating, and he didn't want to date, and he wanted to see what could happen here. And so, okay, cool. So that started happening, and I knew that he was seeing somebody else, and I was fine with it. There was a point in time where once I started living in my truth, I started emailing you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you would be like, "You're just so full of shit," and I'd be like, "Okay, cool," right? And then I had writings, musings, whatever they were, right? And just telling you about my day or whatever. I don't even know. Then there was a night, the guy I was seeing, a movie night or something. I don't know what we were doing, but he left around 11 o'clock at night. And he left around 11, and my phone rang around 11:30. And if you could see my hand when I picked up the phone and it had your name on it, I was like, why in the hell is he calling me? Right? Oh God, I hope everything's okay. That's what hit me. Like, I hope everything's okay. So I answered the phone, and at that point in time, you said your son was with you, and he was struggling in a relationship, and there were some things that was going on, and could you guys come over and talk? I thought, is this a setup? What's going on? You know what I mean? What's really happening? Right? And what was, I'm going to turn it over to you real quick. So what had happened during that time?
Well, my son had said to me that, I know how Sherry feels. I'm looking at him like, what does that even mean? How do you know how she feels? She's, in my words, you were a liar. You were a manipulator. You were these things. Now, here's the thing, and I want to make sure we clarify once and for all what making it final means. It means you've now put an energy field on the inside of you that says you tell yourself the truth. You can no longer make up shit to say that your twin said this or anybody outside you said something. Making it final means you've created an energy field of truth where you can actually love yourself. If you don't get making it final, please come find us. We can show you what that really means. Because I think what people believe is cutting yourself off, causing yourself severe hurt, trying to tell yourself you're moving on, and you haven't really got clear with telling yourself the truth. That's not making it final. And it goes far deeper than what I'm stating here. But understand that the only way she was allowed back in my energy field is if she was able to hear the truth I was already telling myself. Because you have to remember, with all the crap we were going through, I kept manipulating myself to stay. I was never telling myself the truth. I was never allowing the truth to come to me. I was allowing myself to lie to myself, which is allowing her to lie to me. You have to find a space there where you have peace, have the truth, because they both exist in the same space. That's called making it final. So when my son was going through what he was going through, and he was saying all these things, but he kept throwing her at me. And I'm thinking, what the hell? What is this? And I kind of explained to her a little bit about what was going on with him.
It had a lot to do with me trying to communicate with you and you just shutting me down every time.
Absolutely.
And calling it bullshit. Yep. And when it wasn't, when I was really being honest with you and you coming back and saying it's you're just so full of shit. You're so full of bullshit.
Yes.
All the time. And so he knew what I was going through because the same thing was going on in his relationship.
But in me, I was saying to myself, no, there's nothing about what you're listening to right now. It sounds too much like manipulation. It's not coming across as the truth. And you're going to try to convince yourself that she's telling you the truth. And that is how you found a way to manipulate yourself. You can no longer do that. The manipulation was I really truly listening to myself to even know that I could really truly listen to you. So what was happening in that space, so when I allowed myself to be in the same space as both of you.
Yeah, they did come over to the house at midnight.
I listened to the stuff that you both were saying. And I could find, it was really interesting because when you make something final and you tell yourself to stop manipulating yourself or hiding yourself, I was finally able to hear from making it final that you were no longer doing that. That she was no longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is when he was sitting there and we were talking, me and his son were talking, Lee was over there making snide remarks like, and then his son would get pissed and say, that's the shit I'm talking about right there. And he walked out the room. He got on his dad for sitting there being real snide and making remarks. And he said, "That's the shit I'm talking about, Dad, right there." And he walked out the room. And I just looked at you like, I mean, really? Lighten up a little bit. I mean, he's clearly going through something, and we're relating here, right? So whatever you're doing is hurting everybody. Everybody.
And to me, what I was doing wasn't hurting everybody. It was healing my own heart.
Right.
And in that space at that time, I didn't have the words to back up what I was really saying. So I had to find a way to actually look at it and go, okay, I need to step back. I get that I'm making those little noises, but I'm making those little noises because I set myself up to understand that the truth was all that I was going to let enter me. At that point, it was a lot of drama. And then when I started letting myself really listen deeper, I started to hear the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The truth was I couldn't take things that you both were saying and then make it that you were saying things against me,
mm-hmm.
which is what I had been doing all along. Mm-hmm. So those little noises I was making wasn't about as much as you think it was, you guys. It was about me.
Right.
So when I started to realize I need to stop doing it, I started to really look deeper when I was actually allowing the manipulation in the way that I was telling myself one thing and making it something else.
But let's finish this before we got to go because we got a client. So what ended up happening was he did come over. We had that conversation, and him and I began to communicate a little bit. He took his son back. His son was in college. This was really late at night. Like it was maybe 1:30 when we got done talking in the house. So you drove your son all the way back to college, which was about a 45-minute drive. And then you called me. It was like, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked on the phone the entire way that you drove home, right? And then I think we got off the phone at 4:30 or something like that, which was interesting to me because the guy I was seeing shows up at the house at 6:30 every morning, have coffee before work. So I'm on the phone with him till 4:30 thinking, oh my God, how am I going to get up? So I got up. He came over, we had coffee or whatever. I did not lie. I did tell him I've been on the phone with Lee all night. It was fine, whatever. So then I think it was like a half an hour after the other guy left that you had stopped in for a few minutes. And I think we just talked for a few minutes. And then you left and went to work or whatever. And then, but that opened up lines of communication with us,
mm-hmm.
Clear lines of communication. And that's when we went to dinner one night and that.
Right. Yeah. And that's when things
changed.
Yeah.
So we've got a client we got to get to. We love you guys. Hey, we're going to go ahead and keep that $500 root camp special going.
Absolutely.
So 4 sessions, $500, mini root camp special. Get in.
You want to see yourself in connection? You'll see exactly what you're doing in connection to show you what your connection is doing to you.
Yeah. We're probably going to cut it off in a couple days. So
yeah,
maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
It's only 4 with us.
Yeah, it's only 4. It's with Lee and Sherry personally.
With your mommy back.
So that's big. Email info@relationshipreinvented.com. Info @relationshipreinvented.com.
Mm-hmm.
Email us.
We'll put the link up here.
We will get you on the schedule. Email us today. We'll get it worked out. $500 for 4 sessions, and it's deep, deep, deep work.
Absolutely.
It's deep work.
Anybody who's been in it, they'll tell you.
Anybody who's been in root camp.
And we're here. If you need to talk to us, we're right here. And we can help you. So we love you guys. We will talk to you all soon. Bye.